theater, Sharon.
Hello, everyone. Today we have Dr. Romie. One of the things I love about female physician entrepreneurs is the many members who always reach out and are willing to share. And honestly, Romie is one of them. She has made time for me traveling the world, literally traveling the world. She's a global speaker, a keynote speaker, a chief wellness officer. And when I was starting the business program, she had such insight for me. So the bottom line is when she's done so much and she's always much, being busy, she'll say, one of the things that I can do is a talk here and there. She's done articles on her website that, for you people who talk a lot about brain picking, it's a problem because there's so much brain picking you can do, and then you need time for yourself, and there's other things going on. So Romie was the one that got me used to, don't let people pick your brain if you don't have time. Do a blog post or do an article that you could refer them to, and just kindly refer them to like a resource center. So for everyone who's short of time here, honestly, Romie, that has helped me so much going forward. That tip that you gave me. So Chief Wellness Officer, TEDx speaker with over 500,000 views, keynote speaker I mentioned, over 1 million people that she has touched upon, and also a Chief Wellness Officer, neurology by training. And just like I said, so when all of this came out with the book launch, Rome was like, you know what? There was somebody that reached out to me personally, and I said, speak to Romie, but I know that she's really busy. And I gave Romie the forward. I said, she's really gone through a lot. So just, I know Romie's always patient, but just have grace with her. And she said, let's do a talk for female physician entrepreneurs. And so I wasn't expecting that when I reached out to you. It's just you. It's just you giving. She's in the middle of a book tour, a global book tour. And she's like, let's talk to female physician entrepreneurs. So I can't thank you enough for this. Wherever you want to start is fine. I know, there's a few of us, like Shilpi has done self-publishing. I've done self-publishing. I don't know anything about really traditional publishing, and you had mentioned hybrid as well. And there's other things that you want to touch upon. So I'll just take it away. And, I'm monitoring the chat. If you guys want to unmute yourselves and ask questions, this is for you. So go ahead and ask away.
Yeah, thank you for all that are on Facebook. I don't take any colleagues' time for granted. And it wasn't just that one. There were people maybe who are not even here who were like messaging me in the DMs. And I think I'm just emotional if you're just joining. This is like, sorry, like part of it is I'm a little tired. I have to say it's been a month nonstop when you're getting ready for a global launch. And then last week I changed positions. I was chief wellness officer in one company for the last 6 years, and I got a promotion into a very large company, Great Wolf Resort. So in the middle of all that, I had to be the closing keynote of, we now have a chief wellness officer at Great Wolf Resorts, which is one of 250 portfolio companies of Blackstone, no pressure with the Blackstone execs in the room. And I woke up this morning, and I don't know how you all do it, but I mean, can I just have a sister moment with you all? Like, since I had life-saving surgery in 2010, my entire hair is gray, and this is high maintenance to deal with. And I'm on HD cameras and big stages for a living. I have to get my gray roots touched up every 3 weeks. And I have a salon and a really great, and we start at 6:30 in the mornings. I'm literally sitting there this morning in these sweats with my dog and my protein shake, and get the call from my publisher that we have done the unimaginable in week 1, and we've broken into the USA Today national bestseller list. And it's all books, like it's fiction books, it's cookbooks, it's Taylor Swift that you're going up against. And maybe only 10 are nonfiction books, and I'm one of them, praise God. And I feel like, thank you. And you do that. It's like this profound weight of the ancestors with you, and the women that went before us, and the women that are coming after us. And this, like, they're pulling the data at HarperCollins, but to have just a woman doctor do this, or a woman in STEM, it's been a while, immigrant's daughter, like so many things here. And so you're going to see me just processing, or if you're watching the recording, I normally, as a C-suite executive, have emotional control. Like, we're just going to let it all out raw here. You're welcome. And thank you for coming and celebrating with me. I mean, I think this is what we're here to do, is celebrate each other together. And Sharon, right back at you. You built this massive community, and I learn a lot just by listening to what women are doing. And you and I have talked many times. I became an entrepreneur when most people didn't know what that word meant in 2013, when I decided I was leaving neurology, getting board certified in integrative medicine, traveling the world, learning about Ayurveda, mindfulness, yoga. That wasn't a thing for doctors back then. I mean, colleagues were literally throwing knives in my back. Like, she went away to yoga teacher training in Asia. Like, what's this about? And like, the fact that you've built this community so other women have knowledge is great. And so I really wanted to talk about like this ask me anything. I was hoping people who couldn't make it would put their authentic questions into us. Here was the one thing that prompted me to reach out to you. I think a sister, I don't see her here. I hope she signed up and got the recording. Had that, what I call, Sharon, Prince Charming rescue me moment in my feed. Oh my God, I see this and I can't wait. I'm going to get a 6 or 7 figure book deal and leave medicine. That was literally her message to me. And she wanted to know everything from me. And I was like, I love you, sister, but like, what's your platform? What do you speak on? What's your message? And then I just left her a quick audio message, and I was like, oh my God. So my first message is, my sisters, Prince Charming ain't coming. And I say Prince, I'm mindful of sexual gender identity, but there's like that old nonsense I grew up with, if anybody else did, with the Disney princesses, your prince was going to come along and rescue you. And I think too many female physician entrepreneurs are waiting for Prince Charming, in this case, a traditional publisher, to come along and rescue you with the 6 or 7 figure book deal. And I'm here to say, baby, Prince Charming ain't coming. We are our own queens, building our own empires. Okay, ask me questions. Anybody that's on. Hi, Laura.
Anyone with?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Carolyn.
Oh my goodness, sorry. I'm like with my kiddo right now. So can you just like walk us through a little bit of just like even how it starts? So like
Okay.
if we have an idea for a book, like what do we do next? Because
Amazing. Let's
yeah,
start there.
and I have like a little bit of a platform. Like I have a podcast, I have a,
Ooh.
but like, so like, let's assume I kind of have my little niche or whatever, but like, I'm like, okay, I have this book, I have this concept. Like, how do I decide self-publishing versus not? Like, and then like, what do I do? Like, I just don't even know where to
Awesome
start,
sauce.
to be
Okay.
honest.
There are like 7 questions in there. So, Carolyn, do you mind if we just do live coaching and people can learn with this? I think everyone, and I'm going to ask everybody, you're here because you have an idea, or you already maybe somewhat through a manuscript or outline. Carolyn, what's your idea for a book? Do you feel
Yeah.
comfortable
So
sharing?
yeah. So I'll share like more or less. So I'm an obesity physician,
Nice.
and I'm very involved in the new medications, the GLPs. And so it would be related to sort of that topic, kind of
Mhm.
like a guide of how to use those medications. And I already have a ton of material because I have a podcast. I have a whole course for physicians on this. So the material is like there. But I guess I'm just not, and I kind of have it roughly outlined and all of that. But I'm like, okay, what do I do with this? Like I write it
Got it.
and then what, right? Like
Okay.
what's next?
You are probably, you've done more than 50% of the work. Okay. So I want to summarize here. Caroline is a physician in the world of weight management. I work in corporate wellness, so we have to be mindful of the words we use in medicine don't translate into corporate wellness or into the news cycles or into national media or into platforms. So I just want to can I give you that? One is weight management. Could we do
Sure.
that? Even though the board and the specialty is named something else. Um, here is my thought, and I was actually going to use this as an example of a registered dietitian who's a CEO of a company who's one of my corporate partners at the Brain Shift Institute, and we take her nutrition programs in. The GLP-1 agonists are hot, hot, hot right now, as are the topics of women's hormones and longevity. If you have that topic and that knowledge, oh my God, I love when Zoom does this. Yes, I'm so excited. Yay. Okay. I love the universal energy of the random Zoom emojis. Carolyn, you're on a hot topic. You're on a effing race somebody be Caroline's accountability partner. You're not going to focus on your podcast. You are not going to focus on knitting or planting a garden. You are in a race. The first person that has an actual license, whether you're a nutritionist, chiropractor, you are a MD, you are a board certified in weight management, obesity medicine, girl, lock yourself up. We're going to check on you and send food. Write the book fast. You think I'm joking, but I've been around publishing enough to know the first person to cross the marathon finish line with this will win. So write it. You have an outline. You need to, one, determine who your audience is. Is it the medical practitioner that you want to train them on the nutrition plans, or is it the lay audience? This took me longer because sections 1 and 3 of the book, The Busy Brain Cure, the 8-week plan to find focus, tame anxiety, sleep again, USA Today national bestseller. Okay. This sections 1 and 3 are written for the lay public, but because I wanted people to go about their adult onset ADD, anxiety, and insomnia to a doctor, I know my doctor colleagues, and I know they kind of judgy-wudgy a little bit. The middle section is all science weaved with stories. And we tell most of the lay audience, please go from chapter 4 to chapter 10, buy another copy and tell your doctor to read chapters 5 to 9. That was a big risk that we took with the publisher, and I had to push for it. So understand, is your book for practitioners, doctors, nutritionists, nurses, or is it for the public? You may end up having two. For you, my advice would be write this effing fast. I have developmental editor if you have budget, if it feels good to you, if it's going to be, and self-publish it.
Okay.
Okay. Because the publishers are not looking for the GLP-1 agonist. And I'm going to say something here now. The health and wellness trends come and go. The GLP-1 agonist, while I hope that that medication is around for a long time and people are using it, it's trendy to talk about now. Like intermittent fasting is kind of on the slow kind of out. Longevity, there's a few books, but Dr. Peter Attia, like not a woman, a man, took that market. Other people are coming out with books in this first quarter because I know what's coming out from the top 5 publishers in health and wellness. I've been kind of doing the research. Like, if you have this, get it out now and have someone build a course, right? And don't use Chat GPT. Use a developmental editor to help you with stories, to help you with format. But you write, can I curse a little bit, Sharon, on this? You write what's known as the SFD, the shitty first draft. Do not put your whatever the red lines are on Microsoft or Grammarly that are auto correcting your grammar. Turn that off and write the shitty first draft. How I wrote
so
it was,
good at writing shitty things. So thank you.
Yes, same. This I want to tell you, I'm a neurotic neurologist and a perfectionist. Jillian, you can relate. Thank you. Like all of us are. I had to write the stories separate from the science. So I want you to know I had a very big advance because of my big corporate wellness audience. We're going to get into bulk sales. All of that went to paying my developmental editor and PR. So if you think you're going to get rich off of a book advance, y'all are wrong. And the time that it took me to write, this book has been researched because it's an innovative idea in medicine. You all are hearing this first. It is not in the functional medicine textbook. So I want to make that clear. It was researched in 17,000 people taking the assessment, and 1,000 people went through my protocol. So this has been researched since 2017. And then multiple publishers were coming to me because they heard I'm on the speaking circuit doing this research. I chose my publisher, and 2020, it took me a year to just do the writing part, right? That's what happens when you're going on the traditional publishing route, because we know this book, God willing, like Grain Brain or something, has probably at least 5 to 10 years shelf life. Okay. When you're writing about GLP-1 agonists, that's right now. If I go on Amazon, there isn't anybody close to your credentials, Carolyn, that has that book. I have employees that are on that medicine that don't know what nutrition plan they should be on. You and I both know it's nonsense to just tell somebody that whose digestion isn't optimized to eat 150 grams of protein a day. That's nonsense. Like, write the book, sister. And people like me are out there going, oh, my friend Carolyn wrote this book. Go get it on Amazon. If I were you, I would self-publish or hybrid publish. So the first step is to write and commit. A year in writing this, while I had a busy role at my previous company as a chief wellness officer and speaking. And when we knew the first manuscript was due, I locked myself away for 6 weeks. And it was like you're studying for boards. I don't know if anybody else was a crammer for their boards, but you're studying all along and then all of a sudden you're cramming. And I was in my house writing 14 to 18 hours a day. So do that. If you're going to write, you're going to make a commitment. And if anybody else wants to do the GLP, I'm in the abundance mindset group here. Like, Carolyn's voice is going to be very different. Somebody is going to write it for GLP-1 agonists for women who are overweight. Somebody else is going to write it for women with heart disease. Somebody's going to write it for men and women. Like, the audiences, know your audience, write the book, Carolyn. Does that help? That's your step one. And then come back into FPE and ask me the second question. Does that help?
And so you mentioned like a developmental editor. So that's who will kind of like make it good.
Yeah, a developmental editor is going to, I had a really good one. And basically a developmental editor will look at your outline, they hear your concept, they want to know who your audience is, and then they're going to help you with the writing. Like, I knew how to story tell from the stage as a professional speaker. Telling a story in a book is a very different process. So I had to learn that skill. There are a lot of fun stories we wrote that never made it into the book. And I'm really proud of the stories that made it in here. Like,
there used to be this, he kind of still has it, but he was big in the keto world. Keto was like really big 10 years ago, right? And it was a physician, he was well known, and it was just called a low carb ketogenic manual. And it was very short. It was like, I don't know, 30 or 40 pages. I think it was self-published based on what it looked like. And like, I would recommend it to my patients all the time because I didn't have time to go through it all. And it was really good. And it was like by one of my mentors. And like, that can always turn into something bigger, right? So if I start with something small, self-publish it, then I can like also a year from now, like do the big, beautiful thing with the stories weaved in it.
Girl, yes. But I will tell you this. I thank God my developmental editor beat this concept into me. And then I'm going to take the next question. I'm a neurologist in integrative medicine. This is a lot of science in this book from beginning to end. She was like, please, Romie, the publishers knew it had bestseller potential. They were like, you have got to tell story. There are doctors reading this book now that aren't quoting the science back to me. They're quoting the stories back to me right now. I was shocked. So yes, if you're going to write a manual for patients, like here's the nutrition plan you follow, day 1, day 2, fine, put that in, but add a few stories. Don't be scared of adding stories in. Add stories of yourself, why you went into obesity medicine, management, again, politically correct across the divisions, right? And then add in client stories. You've taken care of clients, ask for a few, and you can change their names. You'll see chapters 10 through 18 in my book. Use them as a case study of how you tell a patient story. Okay, they're in there for you to learn. Is that helpful? I'm all about you walking away with one step, but I am being real, Carolyn. Prince Charming is not coming. If you commit to this writing, which we're doctors, if we put our mind to something, we'll do it. Do not distract yourself of, I need to do an Instagram post. I need to do a podcast. Put your podcast on hiatus and play your best hits and sit down and write. The first person to get this GLP book out is going to be the winner. And I want it to be somebody from FPE. Like, do it, get it out now. I look every week for my corporate clients. You think I'm joking? I was hoping someone would do it. Who has the next question? Shadi. Shadi. I hope I said your name right.
Shadi.
Hi, Shadi. I'm Romie.
Hi. Let me put my hand down if I can figure it out. I'm not sure. First of all, you have an amazing voice for just radio media. So, what you said at the beginning resonated. So I have I'm not sure exactly sort of what specific question I have for you, but I've sort of been working on the self-publishing. I'm actually a hospitalist turned functional medicine practitioner. I had my own practice, was going to go into the fasting world and then got burned out. And about a year or two ago, I was not sure if I wanted to be in clinical medicine still, but here we are. My dad passed away 3 years ago, and that inspired me to write about sort of patient advocacy topics and how to navigate a hospital stay. I know if I was going to write something on functional medicine, it would be way sexier than hospital medicine. But right now I have a finished manuscript. I'm working on book covers. And I worked for the other, for the person who talked before, I've been working with self-publishing school. If you need like a cheerleader to tell you, go, go, go. I've been working with them. You could buy done for you packages for book cover formatting, blah, blah, blah. And I've just been sort of trying to figure out titles and book covers. My question is ultimately, I think I always thought of this not as a moneymaker, but a personal passion project because I kind of am a hospitalist, but I also sort of went through a lot of suffering as a caregiver for a lot of family members. I hoped that this would help people, that are sort of confused and just overwhelmed in a hospital setting. I always joke and say probably 6 people are going to read this, but my hope was somehow that I could turn this into more speaking or media engagements and maybe do more patient advocacy.
Okay. Breathe.
I want to allow time for other people. That's why I'm talking fast.
Because who's finding it, me talking to Carolyn or hearing say your name for me, sister, one more time. Shadi. Who's finding help in hearing what they're saying? And you're like, oh my God, she read my mind. Like, right. So here we are. And please, if anybody else has been through this, and it is, what I want to say to you is, if a sister has it, find somebody to help you work on your limiting beliefs and heal the grief and trauma that's inside your brain and body. Could we do that first? Because what you're talking about is so important. But what I know as an expert that's in the public eye, you do not want a trauma dump, right? If you listen to the audible of my book or you read chapter 4, it is nauseating of what my male neurology colleagues were telling me and me admitting my infertility journey. Before I put that in the book, you better believe I've been through trauma-informed therapy, EMDR, even writing in the book from something I thought I healed. It was a setback emotionally. When we recorded the audiobook, I was crying. The director was crying. The producer was crying. They were all men with Harper Audio in this like recording studio. We had to stop production. So you do not want that to transfer to people. I want you to heal that. Okay. Sometimes in writing, we have healing, but make sure I am not going to heal myself as a doctor. I'm so thankful for my therapist, my Reiki healers, all of that. Okay. Anybody here, we can write from a trauma-informed place if it's healed. Number 1. Number 2, limiting belief I heard in there. Functional medicine isn't just the only sexy topic to hear on. In fact, I'm going to push back on you and say, I'm in that world of integrative functional medicine. I think people have plowed apart every section of that book and rewritten it in their own voices, right? This book sure has concepts that you'll hear in integrative functional medicine, but I specifically went away from that. So 3, did you see everybody? How many people type in yes or clap if what Shadi just said about the book that's helping people advocate inside a hospital? How many people would give that to their patients or loved ones? Right? Look at us. So if you have one topic like Carolyn, focus on it. Focus. Don't be distracted. As physicians, we've been taught to multitask or in our personal, professional lives. We often are multi-passionate entrepreneurs. If you're going to write a book, you focus on one thing and one thing only. If other ideas come, put them in your idea journal and your idea jar, wherever for another day. You focus on one topic and you know who your audience is. And the story you are telling me, your heart, oh my God, your story weave through this is going to heal so many other patients that are grieving and advocating for their loved ones and elderly in the hospital, right? So if it's a manual, it sounds like to me, you already have your target audience. You build it. I'm going to say something that may break a few hearts, but I'm glad someone told this to me. The first time a publisher came to me was in 2018, and I had just started speaking and hadn't developed my platform. Writing a book is not going to get you high paid speaking engagements. It's the other way around. You have a platform and a message and you speak for a living and people will ask for the books. Sharon is going to have me talk and just interrupt me about how we were able to move a massive amount of books. It isn't the social media ads. And I did 65 podcast interviews counting. It's really a lot about the bulk orders, legitimate bulk orders, not me saying, Sharon, will you buy 100 copies? Jillian, will you buy another 100 copies? Like, that's unethical. And I feel like God, the universe, would put that unethical energy here. This was legitimate companies saying, we'll take a few hundred copies for our employees. We were part of your research study, right? So you have to get a separate keynote talk or a course ready and out there and test the material. So the best advice I was given was, you're doing the research on this book, The Busy Brain Cure, on your book, right? Test it, whatever the audience is, with test demographics that are not friends and family, refine it, and then put that protocol on the book. So I don't know if that is relevant, or you've tested this advice already and here are the top 5 or 10 things people want to know when they're overwhelmed and need to be a patient advocate. Like, test it and then put it in. And then, in the corporate speaking world at this level, I don't know that people would pay that much money for something like that. But you speaking in hospital systems for a patient advocacy group, or like the American Epilepsy Society, I'm a neurologist, they would love that all day long. And, you'd be selling books. And self-publishing, by the way, is probably the smartest way to go for most people. And you get the biggest profit margins. I got a very healthy advance. It's going to take a long time. Do you all know what an advance means? An advance means they took a bet that I was going to sell X amount of books and they paid me that much in advance. We have to sell that amount of books before the publisher gives me any more royalties on my book. Okay. So I really want you to learn. And you get about 10% of your book sales. So if you look online, my book is like $28.99. So I get $2.80. Now you figure out how many books I have to sell in Audible, Kindle, and hardcover, and they're striated from 8 to 10% before I get a 6-figure advance back, right? So a traditional publisher wants to know that you're coming in with a solid business plan. And so for self-publishing, I would have made a 90% profit on this, on Amazon, but we needed to move books globally to corporate clients, and self-publishing was not the way for me to do it. We need people in any city to be able to go to Barnes and Nobles and order 100 copies, or the bulk order companies to say, can you ship 300 copies to our conference in Hawaii? Does that help?
So I think what I hear you saying is the self-publishing route was a good way to go, but sort of what I don't know is what sort of is going to come out of this and where we're going to land. So maybe just use this as a starting point. And that's what I feel with the self-publishing is that, okay, you create this, but then the work starts.
Really in the right place. For those of you that aren't as far along, you know what you want to talk about. Like, is that Dr. Falake Taylor there sitting there with me somewhere here? No. Okay. I thought I saw her name somewhere in here. She does MS. She herself is a physician and has MS and has brought together integrative holistic medicine and is a phenomenal. She's built a platform and now could write a book, right? Mm-hmm. So really the smart way is you build a platform and you know how you're going to sell and you're testing your market and you write the book. If not, as you're writing the book, you're building a platform simultaneously, right? But you can't be having like, a few thousand Instagram followers and a few thousand LinkedIn followers and think you're going to be like, I wrote a book, as obnoxious as all my posts have been for the last week, but it's finally out. People aren't going to listen. People are buying because they're engaged. They sat in an audience 3 years ago and cried and remember taking the busy brain test. And they remember they reached out on LinkedIn. And I'm like, have your doctor check these labs. And now when they hear the book is out, they're like, oh my God, you changed my life. And I want to buy that. Like, see, that's what it is. Yeah. Emotion, story, connection. Yes. Does that help? And for those of you, do not get stuck on editing. There's a shitty first draft. And then if you don't know what your title is, you shouldn't know. Like, I knew I was studying busy brain because it's the term I gave to the medical problem that I put together. And I was testing it in the field, but it's okay. You don't have a title. A branding marketing person will help you with that. And if any of you have budget, reach out to me. I can give you mine, but you need to have a budget, right? They're going to look and they can help you. And then that'll be the title of your talks and your course or whatever. So, okay. Who has the next question? Or Sharon, I think there's a lot going on in the chat. Oh, you're muted, sister.
Oh, a lot of thank yous, a lot of what recommendations for building the platform. Can I answer that, Romie?
Please. I was actually going to say somebody else answer that. You do that because and then I'm going to answer my platform that I built. Yeah.
For business to business, I swear, I would promote LinkedIn. Other than that, it truly is what you're comfortable with. And I think the biggest mistake that I see people making is that they're everywhere. And if you're a solopreneur and you're doing this by yourself, just one and go on there 20 minutes a day. It's not just posting and leaving. You go on there, you interact with other, like you can even, I go against the pods, like where you're commenting on each other's post. Just run your feed. If there's something there that you're interested in, go ahead and comment on it. Search hashtags that are interesting to you, like with Dr. Romie, it may be busy brain. That's probably not going to come up, but very busy, overwhelm. Think of all the words, like if you were talking about busy brain, you would search for. You could look for other neurologists. So the bottom line is you look for other people that are doing this as well, and you start commenting on their posts, and maybe you want to collaborate with them. You share each other's audiences. But the bottom line is you have to spend time on a platform at least 20 minutes, 3 times a week. If you're not doing that, the algorithm's not going to help you get noticed. So you can post something, but people aren't going to see it. They want you to be on their platform, actively engaging with other posts as well. So it's not just to give, it's a give and take. Pick one.
Thank you, Sharon. I think that's a good idea. Here's the thing I would say before you build a platform, you have to have clarity and stick to that topic. So Carolyn, I'm sorry if it's Carolyn or Caroline, please forgive me. I want to honor all of your names, so forgive me. I'm just a little fatigued, but was talking about GLP-1 agonists and weight management. So it's not really going to make sense for her to start posting on migraine headaches or some other topic. Stick to your topic. We are doctors. Most of us could speak across a broad area. Busy brain, so you all know, is the term that I coined for high achieving professionals that have adult onset ADD, ADHD, ruminating anxiety, and insomnia. And that we in neurology and psychiatry messed it up because we have people on stimulants all day long and sedatives at night, right? The stimulant sedative cycle. That is what busy brain is. To use Sharon's example, we look for workplace wellness, workplace mental health, because I have a B2B business, but also on Instagram for ADHD tips, ADD, anxiety. And we interface with a lot of the podcasts and things that are talking about that right now, right? Now, people ask me about women's menopause. Can I comment on that? Sure. Do I? No, because it's not a part of my book. Right. And so we talk about thyroid and the role of thyroid in chapter 7 when you're burned out, and chronic stress and burnout creates busy brain is the idea. And nobody wants to be told to eat berries and breathe. And you want to heal a busy brain instead. So that's the topic. So you see, when they invite me in to talk about weight management or to talk about menopause or being a patient advocate, as a neurologist or integrative medicine doctor, I could speak maybe not as intelligently as many of you on the line, but to the lay public, I could get on a news channel and do that. I don't. Stay on message, figure out what your message is, and then do what Sharon said and stick to that and find the right platform for you. One thing I will tell you that the publishers told me a year and a half ago, I negotiated and signed the contract in November of 2021. No, God. November of 2022, and we handed in the manuscript on 3 months later, February 1st, 2023. And because I worked with a developmental editor who I paid good money to, as a first-time author, they didn't believe it. We had a manuscript, praise God, that went into the publisher that required minor editing. They were like, we're not going to guarantee you a 2024 pub date. And I'm like, no. My corporate clients are wanting this. Like, you need to make it happen. They're like, relax, we need to read the manuscript. I'm like, I paid a shit ton of money to a developmental editor to clean this up so that all that was needed was grammar and editing and punctuation. And they were like, you're right. And we've tested this with the morning shows, the sales team, my business plan, the platform was big enough. So they were like, absolutely, you get a January pub date. If you don't know, nonfiction in January, that is like your freaking boxing glove are on, you're fighting all the cookbooks, the celebrities with cookbooks, the Dr. Peter Attias of the world. Like, and in that world, I'm a no-name. Like, I don't have that platform. My platform was stealth AF because we were moving thousands of books for our corporate clients who legitimately wanted these books. So that's my B2B platform, right? But that isn't, I wrote this book, Fidelity Investments, please hire me. This is, Fidelity has been on the journey with me since my TEDx talk came out on mindfulness and burnout way back in 2014, 2015. They were part of the research study. And now they're like, your book came out. Of course, we're going to get it. So that's how you build a B2B platform in those relationships. To Sharon's point, you do. I think, Sharon, could I add one more thing to this? Is you don't want to trust any social media outlet with your following. So you need to be collecting email addresses, just like you saw Sharon getting email addresses for this. So we run a busy brain test. So Carolyn, her GLP-1, there's something about insulin resistance. I don't know what your quiz is, a 3-part something, get people engaged. And that's how we have the most engaged people, is we run a quiz during my keynote lectures. They're now a warm audience. We give them a lot on my email. And that was where the sales came, not from social media. Social media was social proof for the best-selling people that, like, the goal was you need 500 mentions on Facebook independently from Instagram. I don't know if they count X, Twitter now or not, but that's what it is, right? But I don't know if people would see one post about a book called The Busy Brain Cure, if they would go out and buy it. They might be curious unless they knew who I was. So that's what I would say about a book. What's the next question?
I see Piju has a question here. I have self-published books. She does beautiful artistry work with photography. And so I'm struggling with marketing and promoting, working on a book on women in medicine, and really want to do things differently this time.
What are you struggling with?
Oh, Piju.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, sister. Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, I've never been a self-promoter. It's been a real struggle. And even now I've kind of gotten used to like posting on social media, posting on, doing little videos and things on Facebook and all of that, Instagram, but I just don't feel like I'm seeing results. And to be honest, I enjoy making short videos and things. I've gotten to the point that I enjoy it and I'm okay with putting it out there. But it's like, first of all, I don't have a large following. Second of all, it's like, I don't feel like it's really leading to sales, and sometimes I feel like I just need someone to do that I could pay.
Here's something I'm just going to tell you, as a CEO and female founder. Can I tell you this part that's going to feel a little uncomfortable to everybody in the room because it's growth? Is if you're running your own business, you need to know your numbers. Okay. So I need to know how many people are on your email list, what your percentage open rates are, how many social media followers you have. If you have a video, how many watches have you gotten? And if you had a call to action, what's the percentage of engagement? You're not running a business if you don't know your numbers. That's a hobby. That's having fun on social media. Okay. So the lesson for everybody here, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I have a director of operations. We have got a big spreadsheet. And because we're running social media ads for my book right now, we look at the numbers every effing day. And we don't have access to my Amazon and Barnes and Noble's number because we're not self-published. The publisher does. So they're giving us those numbers, right? So the first thing I need everyone to get comfortable with is know your numbers. Because if you're going to self-publish or hybrid publish, tell me whoever's done it. The last time when I looked into that for the book that I thought I was going to write before Busy Brain Cure, thank God I didn't. And I waited for this research and I was looking at the self-publishing, hybrid publishing. It's a $20,000 to $100,000 investment. Nobody in their right mind should do that unless you have a business plan to recoup those costs. And doing it from a book alone is not going to happen. What the traditional publisher told me was most people are lucky, hear this, to sell 300 to 500 books. If you sell 3,000 books, you're actually considered a viable author. Okay. So even if you're on Amazon and you sell your book for $20 and you get 90% of it, that's a lot of books you have to sell to make your self-publishing fee, right? So I make money from speaking. We make money because corporate clients hire me for the 8-week brain shift program that's in here. And then I pissed some doctors off because they're like, I don't want to run these labs. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah. And that, right? So that's how we make money. If I had to be honest with you, just my advance, me telling you that the money went to an amazing developmental editor and into PR and into our social media ads, the time it took me and my team over the last year to put this whole launch together and everything, I don't know that I would do it again, other than we have a 7-figure speaking and consulting business tied to the back end of this. I know my numbers. And if that makes any of you uncomfortable, go to a therapist, not the mindset coach. Please go through a therapist and work through the money blocks. You need to know your numbers. The second thing, Piju and Sharon, jump in here. Do you have any people that train on sales?
Are you asking Sharon?
Yeah, I'm asking Sharon for FPE.
We don't have it in FPE. We have it in the business program. We've had sales talks.
Yeah.
And on the podcast.
I think
On the
Sharon, reach out to me privately. I'm in a large entrepreneurial mastermind group, and there are women in there who used to be in corporate sales who are running their own businesses, and they teach sales. Like, that is the one thing I would tell you. You need to get comfortable, Piju, with saying, this is what my book is, and this is what it's offering you. Not buy my book. No. Or I'm going to do infobesity dump, right? So if Carolyn were to give me the last 10 medical journal articles about the GLP-1 agonist and heart disease and just do infobesity dump, no one's going to buy that book either. They're going to be like, she's smart. Other people are going to be like, this is too going over my head, right? Other colleagues who have egos are going to be like, well, I'm going to argue with her because I have a different perspective, right? Like, you don't get anywhere with either too much information or just with the buy my book, right? And then so my advice to you would be and Sharon will talk, like, get sales training in. Like, you have to know how to pitch yourself. Again, when you go to a traditional publisher, they want to know, your book proposal is a business plan. Like, mine was an entire business plan. Yes, there were 2 sample chapters and an outline in there. They wanted to know the marketing plan. They wanted to know the business plan, and they don't buy into fluff. When I said I'm exclusively represented by leading authorities, this is the number of speaking engagements I do, this is the average audience, they picked up the phone and called leading authorities to verify it. Okay. And that's what it means. Like, I'm asking everybody, put your CEO pants on, like, do this, because it is wrong AF that my publisher is saying, wow, a woman of color to break the USA Today bestseller list. And it's been a long time since there was a woman in medicine or an immigrant's daughter. That's wrong. Like, that's why I'm here in FPE. Y'all need to be doing this along right side with me, self or traditional publishing. So does that help you a little bit, Piju?
Sure.
Yeah. Sales. You just need the sales thing, and you need to focus on, like, whatever that one book is and get comfortable. And you need to find the venue to promote yourself. So if you light up when you say videos, I think somebody just needs to train you to stay focused and what your call to action is, and to get people down a sales funnel. So Sharon, remind me, and I'll connect you to a few salespeople. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maria,
Who else has?
Maria has a similar question. I'm going to put my question in the chat. Self-published in December 2022, but I have not found the best strategies to market and sell. It is a book for doctors titled Healing the Wounds of Medicine, Stories and Journaling for Physicians, interested in bulk selling. I have been now writing poems, and I would like to do a second self-published to combine poems, journaling, and healing via writing, but want to perfect the marketing and selling. I think, Romie, you could add to that, but you answered a lot of that question with Piju.
Actually, with Maria, it's a little different.
Shoot.
Maria, I love that you're multi-passionate. And anytime I meet a STEMinist sister who has the gifts of artistry and poetry and photography, I'm just in awe. So I really want to honor that for one and for all. And then also, what I'm about to follow up and say with this is slightly going to be tough medicine, but what's in it for someone else? So I would keep your poetry separate, and published poetry book for people who love poetry or doctors who want to learn how to write poets. That goes separate, right? Your Heal the Healer book, that's a journal. You haven't told me there are so many books out there about doctors writing about burnout. What's different about your book? What is it going to offer, right? To the cynical doctors, like healthcare systems even loathe when I come in, but I'm the closing keynote at HIMSS this year. So they must be interested, because it's not a physician burnout story. It's, I have a solution based in science that isn't telling you to eat berries and breathe to burnout. And we've tested one of our 1,000, we put 1,000 people through the protocol. Piju, are you learning how I'm selling my book, by the way? I keep repeating this over and over for you, right? We put 1,000 people through this protocol with the results that are sitting there in chapter 9 for you to read. And one of them was a healthcare system. Look how I just sold that, Piju. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Maria, I think what's the differentiating factor? You had a book that you self-published. Congratulations. I'm going to ask you again, what are your numbers? What are you selling the book for? How is it marketed? How much money did you spend on it? How many copies have you sold? Do we need to adjust the marketing language and tags on Amazon if that's where you're self-publishing and selling it? You just need a selling and marketing strategy. And it sounds like you didn't execute, and you're very creative, and you want to put out a poetry book on top of it. Lovely. If you want to do that, and great. And, I'm spending money on my shoes. You want to spend money on publishing a poetry book and have it out there in the world, do that. But I'm here to help you run businesses, ladies. Like, yeah. Sorry if that's harsh. Was that okay, Maria? Yeah.
How about we move on to the bulk selling when you're doing a talk, unless somebody else has another question.
Okay. How do we do bulk sales, right? So bulk sales typically is a minimum order of 25 to 50 books by one entity that's going to one address, okay, is what a bulk sale is. There are vendors that traditional publishers have that they use. So my leading authorities, my bureau uses Porchlight, and then we are using BookPal. So if what that means is HarperCollins, my publisher, has a deal with 4 or 5 of these big distributors that took a guess based on my proposal, based that we got some buzz in Publishers Weekly, which is big in the publishing world. And they're like, we're going to put
to pick up an order, Maria.
They're going to put 1,000 of my books in their warehouse and take a gamble that we're going to send bulk orders. And we did. So leading authorities uses Porchlight. So for instance, I'm speaking at HIMSS, and in the executive session, there'll be 500 executives there. We pitched Piju because I know how to sell. So first of all, leading authorities, they won't take, most bureaus won't take a self-published book. I'm going to apologize and say that right now. Even if you're on the Amazon bestseller list, they don't take it. Now they've gotten burned with so many books that they don't even take traditional publishing books. They want to know your first print run. They knew from my clients there was a demand, because my clients were calling the bureau going, we want to invite her back. Is her book out yet? So the bureau knows we need to partner on her book. Okay. So it's a business decision. It is not personal. Like, look, I knew my numbers going in, right? So now we negotiated with the bureau. My speaking fee is X. You're going to take part of your commission down. We're going to take a part of my commission down, and we're going to include 100 books in 2024 in my speaking fee for everyone that books Dr. Romie to speak. Does that make sense? So they took a cut in their commission, but they're getting a commission back on the book, because my book is $28.99. I think like BookPal and Porchlight, if you buy 100 books, they'll sell them at like $17 or $18. So the bureau is making like a $10 profit, because they're still maybe charging the client 25 instead of 28, the Amazon price, right? So they're still making a profit. But then what happens, Piju, is I have to get on the phone. So I was on the phone with the HIMSS program coordinator. By the way, if anyone's going to be at HIMSS, please come say hello to me. But I was on the phone with the program coordinator, and I sold my book. Sharon, I'm going to sell my book. Like, you're like the eye rolling coordinator for HIMSS, and here's another thing. Sharon, would you like? I was like, Sharon, thank you. I know you work with a lot of professional speakers, and you've not met me before, but I want you to know why this is important to me. Electronic medical records. I was the second hospital in the nation to go live over 15 years ago. And that partly contributed to my burnout, and I ended up in life-saving surgery. I detail all of that in chapters 1 through 4 in my book. But what's different is I offer a cure. People in healthcare are cynical. They don't want to be told to eat berries and breathe. She cracked up laughing. And this is a protocol that we tested in over 1,000 executives, including healthcare clients. So could I ask you a favor, Sharon, that could help me in my business? I spoke last week twice, and the company's only got 100 books, and there were more than 100 people in the audience. And there was pandemonium that there wasn't enough books. And I'm a small business owner, and my team got the entire blowback, as did leading authorities, because people were now calling and emailing us asking why they didn't get a book. Sharon, leading authorities says a great deal. You're going to get the bulk order. Do you mind ordering 400 more books? It would really help me. And if you're not sure, we're happy to send you the galley copy. And by the way, I am the first woman physician in probably 7 years to make the USA Today bestseller list. So you're helping a woman physician out. That was exactly what I pitched to the program coordinator at HIMSS, who works with hundreds of speakers a year. Everyone's trying to push their book. She was like, you almost died. Oh my God, you're so funny. I'm not going to have to eat berries and breathe. Oh, healthcare executives. Now, Piju, that is not the pitch I use for a finance or insurance company. But did you just see the pitching right there? Right. Sharon, are you convinced? Are you going to buy like the 500 books?
I'll make it 1,000, Romie.
I love you, Sharon. Yeah, we all need more Sharons in our lives. So that's one way. So I have a built-in speaking network, and we did that to push pre-orders. I have a CRM. This is also something you need if you want to do bulk orders. Anybody else have a CRM in this group? Yes. Customer relation management tool. Yes, right. Because we're a B2B. You need to have your clients, anybody that's hired you to speak. We got to a point we needed it beyond a spreadsheet. So we use Zoho CRM, and it's built specifically for speakers. And we have an email list that goes out separately to these B2B clients than from my newsletter list. And we put a fire sale out there. We were like, if you buy 500 copies or 1,000 copies, we'll waive my speaking fee, which is a deal for them, by the way. My speaking fee is so much more. And the leading authorities was like, we want the speaking fee. Are you out of your mind? And I'm like, no. I'm like the, Atomic Habits author. I'm blanking on his name right now. I'm tired. What's his name?
James Clear.
I read the book. James Clear did the same thing. And I'm like, but you're still making profit selling my book. And so we took the first, I thought we would get 10 people. We got maybe 3 or 4 that ordered books, and I'm doing a free webinar for them or free speaking, and they're paying for my travel. So you do this and you're like, don't be defeated. I have been professionally speaking since 2015, 2016. I was still seeing integrative medicine patients. When I got named chief wellness officer in 2018, I stepped away from the practice, right? So I have been building this business for years. And that's how we did the bulk orders. So the other way we did bulk orders, honey, I'm single, but there's a few ex-boyfriends, and I'm like, I've never asked you for anything. You're ordering 50 or 100 books for your office. You're welcome. So that some of those connections too. Mm-hmm.
What other questions do you have? Shilpi, do you have any questions? Anybody? Julian?
Yeah.
Difference between, go ahead, Jill. Difference between self-publishing and hybrid publishing. Has somebody gone over that before?
No.
Okay. And anybody who's done either one of those, please raise your hand and step in and chat with me. I looked into all these options. So I wouldn't, yeah. Yeah. Shilpi, please unmute yourself and chat. Which one did you do? I would love to hear.
I did self-publishing.
Congrats. Amazing. How was the experience for you?
So I have an idea. Well, I'll answer your question. Good. I think it's good. But I started with a course on publishing, which I'm sure you've heard of, publishing.com, which talks you through how to become a publisher, and not actually how to write a book, but how to hire ghostwriters to write your book, and how to run Amazon ads for your book, and how
Nice.
to hire a cover designer for your book. And so it's a pretty comprehensive course. And they have like a 7-day challenge of write your book in 7 days and publish it, just to get you started. Like, doesn't have to be good, just to get something out there, to get the momentum going. And that was my first book. It took me 3 months, not 7 days, but I wrote the first draft in 7 days.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so I'm an ophthalmologist, and my first book was Goodbye Dry Eye.
Oh my
And
God. That's so good. How many people are going to remember this book next time a patient comes in with dry eyes? Goodbye, dry eye.
Yep.
Right? Amazing job on that title. Amazing job. Yeah.
Yay, thanks for buying the book, Carolyn. But
Yeah.
it's like, I just wanted to help people, and I was like, what can I write about for 7 days? Like, that's short and sweet, but you know, people keep asking me the same questions over and over and over. Actually, let me go backwards. A year or two before I took this course, I self-published my daughter's books. She wrote and illustrated a few stories that people just loved, and I was like, yeah, why not?
Okay.
And so we did those free on Amazon KDP before I knew anything with free ISBNs. Once I did my dry eye book, I bought my own ISBNs so that I could put them on Income Spark and Lulu and other platforms for print on demand.
Every book needs an ISBN number. Don't be cheap. If you're going to just take the time to self-publish, don't be cheap. Do the ISBN number. The second thing is, don't use Canva. Hire a professional to do your book cover. Number 3, do not, unless you're Taylor Swift or Malala, do not put your picture on your book.
I'm glad. I'm interested in how you said that. I don't put my picture, at least not on the cover, or not even the back cover, but I'm curious to know why you said that.
Oh, it's not my opinion. So you have an author picture that's different. Your author headshot that goes with your bio, and like, publishers put it on the inside flap.
That's what I do.
Put it on the back flap.
On the back inside.
You know, there's people who have a picture of them going.
Oh, on the cover of the book.
On the front cover. And unless you're like, you see Britney Spears photo shoot is stunning on her memoir, right? You're buying that book for Britney. I mean, I listened to the Audible. It was incredible. I don't know if any of you did. You expect her photo on the cover. The psychology is like, I'm writing about busy brain. Shelby wrote about, Goodbye Dry Eye. Carolyn already logged off, or she's already busy writing her book on GLP-1 agonists, and she's going to be like reaching out to me in 7 days now that she knows she can do this in 7 days and write the course. We don't want our pictures on the book. Like, I am not the book. The book is about somebody else's transformation, right? And so, and it's a vanity factor. And then there's the psychology of it is, if you see a man's face on the cover and you're a woman, you're not going to want to buy. You don't think they're handsome or beautiful. You don't like what they're wearing. There's this whole psychology of it, right? So unless you're a highly recognized celebrity public figure like Steve Jobs, may he rest in heaven, or Britney Spears, like, you don't put your book on face on the front cover. Shilpi, thank you for your journey on self-publishing. I appreciated you took a course. I also want to give it a little tongue in cheek and be like, there's enough YouTube videos out there and enough resources in FPE. You can be like, could somebody recommend a cover designer? Could somebody recommend a developmental editor? And don't waste money and time on a course. Like, we can pontificate as doctors, spend that time reading the latest medical journal in your specialty, right? But don't do that. There's enough out there. So self-publishing, you can do that. Most people say to do it well, it's an average startup cost of $5,000 to $30,000. Hybrid publishing is great because they have tested, even if you want to pay for a ghostwriter, if you want to, they have professionals that do book covers that have come out of traditional publishing. They get the ISBN number. Hybrid publishing is helpful because depending on your business plan and your ability to sell books and your platform, they can actually help you get your book into onto like Porchlight and onto places that traditional publishers sell the book beyond Amazon, right? Sometimes they've even been able to, as a hybrid publisher, if you have a good book and big following, like a lot of business executives will do hybrid publishing, they'll even get books into like your local Barnes and Nobles in your region in the Southeast or whatever like that. So hybrid publishing is like one step up from self-publishing, where they're doing some of that work for you and they have people you can trust in-house. Ghostwriting is something else. There's an article, Sharon, remind me to pull for you. There was a very famous woman ghostwriter who got busted, and name every famous integrative functional medicine doctor, including Dr. Sanjay Gupta. She plagiarized all these books, and these big publishers are having to go back and retract parts of her book. So I'm biased. I feel like my book is good because it was in my voice. There was no ghostwriter that could do it. And we knew, because we've hired copy editors in my business to help with copy. They're requested to watch one of my lectures and they still can't grab my voice. So if you're going to learn storytelling, I think so many of you have compelling stories here, try to write it yourself. I would say, for Carolyn, if you're not going to do stories and only do GLP-1, or if Shelby was only doing dry eyes, like you could probably hire a ghostwriter and give them an outline and give them the medical journals and see what they come back with and add a little bit of your voice, right? That's what I think it would be. So, and then no one's asked about artificial intelligence yet in books. It is a big worry in the publishing world. You all know probably, and the other AI experts that are in the group, that all the AI platforms are still behind on the latest up-to-date medical research. So you're not getting up-to-date medical things. I do think it could potentially be disruptive on how-to books, like, I don't know, think of a how-to book that's not related to medicine, like a book on how to take care of a senior dog. I think AI could replace humans on it, but then it's a human Piju to market it, right? And so, I would say, as thought leaders in health and wellness and the medical field, we should be writing our own books, but have a business plan for it. One of the smartest reasons, if you're still in clinical practice, whether it's concierge medicine or whether it's you're, employed, one of the best reasons, and I've heard it, to write a book is because you're repeating the same effing thing to your patients over and over and over again. And in that case, I don't need you to go through this whole, let's learn how to write stories and emote. Sure, put some few stories in there, but write a manual. And that way you're bulk buying your books and it's a business write-off, and some patients will even buy it. And again, I'm going to use neurology. American Epilepsy Society could buy the book or whatever and say, we're going to give it out to patients. That's another way to get bulk orders. Another way to do bulk orders is when you go to speak. So at the next FTE conference, you ask Sharon, in lieu of a speaking fee, will you buy 50 or 100 of my books, right? That's another way you do things. Or if people say, come speak to the Rotary Club for free, you'll be like, okay, but do you have an education fund? It would really help me if you could buy 25, 50 copies of my book. So you want to bulk sell. Bottom line, you move more books when you bulk sell. PR for a book. Anybody want to know that?
Can I just respond to what you just said? I think
Yes,
that was a great suggestion, because I just thought about it. I've done some like local library talks, right? And and I didn't. The first one, money wasn't even discussed, and I didn't care. I just wanted to, share my story, give the talk and stuff like that, and at least let them know about my books. But the second time, when they talked about their budget, the budget was so low that I figured, you know what, I'd rather just give it for free. But it didn't occur to, I was like, I don't want to. It was so low, I'm embarrassed to even say.
No, we've all been there. I used to do that too. So Piju, repeat after me.
Peju, it's Peju.
Peju, I'm sorry, Peju. I apologize, sister.
It's okay.
Peju, repeat after me. I run a business.
I run a business.
I run a business.
I run a business. But from listening to you, though, I realized I could have asked them to buy copies of my book.
Even with that low budget. And by the way, everybody says I don't have budget. Like UBS Bank called and said, I don't have budget, right? to my speakers bureau. And they were like, these are her fees. And guess what? We negotiate a little bit. They found the budget. Okay. Everybody who is good at selling will say, I don't have a budget, because they're going to say, wow, she's a doctor. She's dynamic. I've seen her on video. She must charge $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 to speak. Like anytime someone gives you a budget, you just bring them up a little and you find the middle ground and negotiate. And then you ask them on top of it to buy books. Now, if it's a nonprofit, just ask them to buy books. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I also did another book, How Healers Heal with 33 Women Docs, and you're raising money. Amazing. And you partnered with them for an announcement and their email list of 10,000 docs. Amazing. The next step is to ask them at their next conference to buy 500 or 1,000 copies of your books to hand out. And especially because we want to bring awareness to women in STEM and women in medicine. Amazing. 100 is a good start. Let's go up to 500 or 1,000. They got 10,000 docs. No. Let me tell you, because if that was white man magic, he would have sold like 10,000 copies of that book. No, I know. I've been there. Sorry, Sharon, that was blunt.
No, but it's true. I think, Shilpi, you had a table I remember seeing at. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing. But like next time, negotiate more. When somebody says we'll buy 100 books, say it would really help if you got 250, and then let them come down to 175 in the middle. Got it? Yeah. Move those books. That's a great idea. Medical conferences. So yeah, absolutely. And I love that women doctors got to share their stories, What else? What other questions? We're kind of going over time, but anything else? Sharon, what did we not cover?
I have to, let's look at Carolyn for a second. Her hair is like, I love it. No, we covered a lot. You mentioned the book sales. We mentioned hybrid, which I was actually unfamiliar with. I was either self-publishing or traditional publishing. So the hybrid was new.
Most people are going the hybrid route. And then it's like a menu, like a buffet. We're going to do your cover and your editing. It's X amount of money. You want us to do some PR, it's X amount of money. You want us to do a ghostwriter, you add another thing to the menu. So bestseller publishers is an example, but if you look up hybrid publishers, there's a lot. They're getting inundated with proposals. So many of the good hybrid publishers still want a book proposal out of you because they want to know, yeah, I'm charging you, but should I work with someone like Sharon and Romie who have a platform that they have a likelihood to be able to move that minimum 3,000 books? Or am I going to work with someone that they have like no following anywhere on social media and they're really passionate about what they do, but they don't like to sell and that, hybrid publishers are a little more picky too. So yeah.
Now, by the way, we're at time. We're over an hour. I appreciate all of that you've done. Shilpi, are you able to stay on for a sec? Does anybody have any questions? There's going to be a replay. I will send it out tomorrow morning. I would like to speak to Romie and Shilpi if the three are available.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone else that took the time out of your night. I just want you to remember we are all CEOs and businesswomen. Even if you're employed by a hospital, you have a right to charge for your thought leadership if you're going to put it in a book or go out and speak. Unless there's something in your contract at work that you're not allowed to take speaking fees, then ask for the speaking fees and put them towards a nonprofit. Like that energy of the world, when we women are paid for our work, then we're doing it for the collective sisterhood. And so please charge, and you run a business and get your thought leadership out in the book. Carolyn, you better run to the races, because there's a whole bunch of people in Mindshare that are fighting for that GLP-1 agonist. And I want a female doctor sister who actually has the board certification to write that book. Run and stay in touch with me, please. Run and write that book. Like you just heard Shilpi say, 7 days, 3 months, you can do it. 1 month, finish that book.